The beast was dying, and the galaxy watched. It lay sprawled across the jagged obsidian plains of Carxus Prime, its once impenetrable hide split open like rotten fruit. Ribs, each thicker than a starship support beam, jutted from its sides in broken arcs. The air reeked of copper and decay, the scent of the Void Reaper's slow, undignified end. From the safety of their hovering dreadnoughts, the Zalathai commanders observed with cold satisfaction. Their scanners confirmed it. The creature's heart rate had slowed to a faltering stutter. Soon, the last of its species would be extinct, and their greatest engineered weapon would finally be erased from history. Then the humans arrived. The Terran dropship tore through the cloud cover like a bullet, its thrusters screaming against Carxus' thin atmosphere. Sergeant Elias Vance pressed his forehead to the viewport, his breath fogging the reinforced glass. The mission briefing had called this a passive reconnaissance op. Bullshit. Nothing about that thing down there was passive. Touchdown in 60, the pilot barked. Remember, observe only. If the Zalathai catch you interfering, they'll turn that rifle of yours into a toothpick. Vance didn't answer. His fingers traced the stock of his modified Ares 7, its barrel humming faintly with charged energy. He'd been a sniper for 12 years, long enough to know when a shot mattered. And something about the way the beast's massive chest shuddered, like a drowning man fighting for air, didn't sit right. The moment his boots hit the ashen soil, he knew the intel was wrong. The Reaper wasn't just wounded. It was sick. Vitals, he muttered into his calm. Beside him, Corporal Ryakova adjusted her scanner, her dark brows knitting. It's not battle damage. Some kind of neurotoxin, foreign, aggressive. This thing's being poisoned. A low, guttural pulse thrummed through the ground. Vance's teeth rattled. The Reaper's eye, a single massive orb, slit like a serpent's, rolled toward them. Christ, whispered Private Jax, his grip tightening on his plasma rifle. It's looking at us. Vance held still. That eye wasn't just animal. There was recognition in it. Another vibration, deeper this time. Kova's scanner lit up. It's talking. Low-frequency harmonic. Basic pattern repetition. The Reaper's claw twitched, gouging a furrow in the rock. Not an attack. A plea. Vance exhaled. They're torturing it. A shadow passed overhead. One of the Zalathai drones, sleek and needle-thin, descended toward the Reaper's exposed flank. A glint of metal detached from its underbelly, a fresh toxin canister. Kova grabbed his arm. Elias, we have orders. He was already moving. The Ares 7 snapped to his shoulder, its scope aligning with the drone. For a heartbeat, he hesitated. Firing meant exposure. It meant war. The Reaper let out a sound like a dying star. Vance pulled the trigger. The shot cracked across the plains. The drone exploded in a shower of sparks, the canister vaporizing midair. Silence. Then, chaos. Alarm klaxons wailed from the Zalathai fleet. Red targeting lasers sliced through the dust, painting Vance's chest. Jax cursed. They've got Locke. The Reaper's eye fixed on Vance again. This time there was no plea. Only fury. Its body moved. The world erupted in fire and fury. Vance hit the ground as the Reaper's tail whipped overhead, carving through the air where he'd stood a second before. Dust and debris stung his eyes. He rolled, rifle still clutched to his chest, and came up just in time to see the beast move. Not toward him, but past him, its massive body surging toward the Zalathai dreadnoughts with terrifying, unnatural speed. It wasn't attacking the humans. It was shielding them. A plasma barrage from the nearest Zalathai gunship seared toward Vance's team, only to slam into the Reaper's raised forearm. The creature roared, the sound shaking the earth, but it held its ground. The scales along its arm glowed molten where the plasma had struck, yet beneath the damage, something was happening. The flesh knitted itself back together. Kova's voice crackled in his earpiece. Elias, it's regeneration, it's working again, the poison was suppressing it. Vance didn't have time to process that. The Zalathai weren't waiting. 3 more drones detached from the nearest warship, their weapons humming to life. Jax, suppressing fire now. The private didn't hesitate. His plasma rifle spat bolts of superheated energy, forcing one drone into a evasive spiral. Vance lined up his shot, exhaled, and took it. The Ares 7 kicked against his shoulder, and another drone exploded in midair. The third got too close. It strafed low, its underbelly opening to release a fresh canister, this one larger, deadlier. Vance lunged, but he wouldn't make it. The Reaper did. It moved faster than anything that size should. One massive claw snatched the canister from the air and crushed it. Toxin splattered harmlessly against its palm, sizzling but not penetrating. The beast's eye locked onto the drone, and then, with a precision that sent a chill down Vance's spine, it flicked a single talon outward. The drone imploded, crumpling like paper. Silence for half a heartbeat. Then the Reaper turned its gaze on Vance. This close, he could see the intelligence in that eye, not just awareness but calculation. It knew what he'd done. Knew he'd fired first. And now it was waiting. Kova edged closer, her scanner still active. It's not attacking us. She swallowed. It's communicating, listen. A low, rhythmic pulse thrummed through the ground, vibrating up Vance's boots. Not random. A pattern. A message. Jax tightened his grip on his rifle. What the hell is it saying? Vance didn't know. But the Reaper did. It tilted its head, then dragged one claw through the rock, carving symbols. No words. Kova's breath caught. That's Terran script. How does it know? The Reaper's message was short. Brutal. They made me. Vance's blood went cold. Another vibration. Another set of words. They will do it again. The beast's eye flicked toward the sky, where the Zalathai fleet loomed like vultures. Then back to Vance. A question. An offer. Jax cursed. We can't trust it. That thing's killed thousands. Kova's scanner beeped urgently. And the Zalathai made it that way. Look at its neural readings. This isn't just conditioning. They rewired it. This thing didn't choose to be a weapon. Vance stared at the words etched into the stone. The Reaper wasn't just a monster. It was a prisoner. One that had just saved their lives. A new sound cut through the air, the high-pitched whine of inbound dropship. Not Zalathai. Human. The comms crackled. Sergeant Vance, this is Colonel Vera of the TSF Vigilance. You are ordered to disengage and retreat immediately. Repeat, fall back to extraction point. Vance didn't move. The Reaper's eye bore into him. Kova grabbed his arm. Elias, if we don't pull back now. He knew. The cavalry was here. The smart move was to run. But the Reaper had stopped running. Vance keyed his comm, Colonel, request permission to hold position. Static. Then, asterisk denied. Asterisk that creature is a confirmed galactic-level threat. Extraction in 90 seconds, with or without you. The Reaper's body tensed. It had heard. It understood. Vance made his decision. He slung his rifle and stepped forward. The beast didn't strike. It waited. Vance reached out and placed his hand against the Reaper's scarred hide. The ground trembled as the beast exhaled, a sound like a collapsing star. Then, slowly, it dipped its head in acknowledgement. Above them, the human dropships descended. And the Zalathai fleet opened fire. The sky turned to fire. Zalathai plasma cannons seared through the atmosphere, turning the ashen plains into a wasteland of molten glass. Vance barely had time to shout before the Reaper moved, its body curling around the humans like a living fortress. Plasma splashed against its armored hide, the scent of scorched ozone thick in the air. Elias, we need to move! Kova yelled over the din, dragging Jax back as a blast crater erupted where he'd stood seconds before. Vance didn't answer. His gaze locked onto the Reaper's eye, now mere feet from his face. The intelligence there was unmistakable, and so was the pain. Every hit it took shook its massive frame, yet it refused to break formation. It was protecting them. The comms exploded with static. Vance, this is your final warning. Colonel Vera's voice was razor-edged. Extraction in 60. A deafening impact cut her off as a Zalathai orbital strike hit the Reaper's flank. The beast roared, its blood, thick and iridescent, splattering across Vance's visor. Something inside him snapped. He wrenched his comms unit free and crushed it underfoot. Kova! Scramble their targeting systems. She didn't question him. Her fingers flew across her wrist console, hacking into the Zalathai drone's frequencies. Jamming in 3, 2. The Reaper shuddered, then lunged. Its claws tore through the nearest Zalathai gunship like tissue paper. Debris rained down as the beast moved with terrifying precision, dismantling their attackers piece by piece. This wasn't mindless rage. This was strategy. Jax gaped. It's reading their formations. Vance knew better. It's remembering. A new sound cut through the chaos. The thunderous engines of Terran heavy dropship. The Vigilance's reinforcements had arrived, their railguns already charging. Sergeant! A helmeted Marine tossed him a fresh rifle from an open hatch. Orders! Vance looked at the Reaper, now surrounded by circling Zalathai fighters. Looked at the human fleet, weapons hot. He made his choice. Focus fire on the Zalathai command ship. His voice carried across the battlefield. That beast is not the enemy. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, the Terran railguns swiveled. A coordinated volley lit up the sky, punching through the Zalathai dreadnought's shields. The Reaper didn't hesitate. It leaped, clearing half a mile in a single bound, and drove its talons into the warship's hull. Metal screamed as it tore the vessel open like a gutted fish. Silence fell. The remaining Zalathai ships broke formation, fleeing into the void. The Reaper landed amidst the wreckage, its chest heaving, blood dripping from a dozen wounds. But its eye was clear. Vance approached slowly, rifle lowered. The beast exhaled, a sound almost like relief, and pressed its forehead to the scorched earth. A gesture of thanks, of surrender. Kova's scanner chirped. Its systems are stabilizing. The poison's purged. Jax shook his head. After all that, it just stops? Vance understood. It never wanted to fight. Above them, the Terran ships hovered, their weapons still trained on the Reaper. Vance raised a fist, the hold fire signal. Colonel Vera's voice crackled from a nearby Marine's comm. Stand down, but stay sharp. That thing's still The Reaper moved. Every weapon snapped up, until it became clear the beast wasn't attacking. It was shrinking. Its bones cracked and reformed, scales retracting, until what stood before them was no longer a monster, but something leaner. Something almost humanoid. Kova gasped. They didn't just weaponize it. They designed it. The Reaper, no, the being, raised a clawed hand toward Vance. In its palm lay the shattered remains of a Zalathai control module. The message was clear. I am free. Vance reached out. The galaxy held its breath.